So let me move over to the man, Mr. Jimmy Akingbola, and you know, Jimmy, you've been doing some great work within the industry as an actor and representing our culture, the black culture, you know, in TV and also in film as well. And one of the things I didn't mention, I was saving it, was obviously you now have also, apart from starring all the TV series that you've been in, apart from the Triforce Film Festival and also the events that you do, but you've also created this show, which is currently airing on ITV. It's broadcasting tomorrow night. I believe it's 10:45, and it's called Sorry I Didn't Know. And basically, it's a game show about Black history and focusing on Black history, and it's the first of its kind. And yeah, so you know, please tell people about that, how that all came about. Also, yeah, you know, I read about the journey that initially, because I think people, if they remember, there was a pilot episode of Sorry I Didn't Know about 4 years ago, which appeared on ITV, and then we didn't see it again. And then all of a sudden, in light of kind of what's happened this year, it's now being commissioned. It's screening all through October, through Black History Month. It's 2 weeks have gone already, and should be on tomorrow night and also probably next week. So Jimmy, tell you know, give us some idea of how this all came about and the concept and, you know, the journey of getting it onto ITV.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, first and foremost, I am an actor, but I'm also the co-founder of Triforce Creative Network, and we work in a similar space as the amazing Simone, the TV Collective, in terms of providing opportunities for diverse talent, you know, across film, TV, and theatre. We do an array of programs like Monologue Slam, which is a free open actor showcase for actors to be seen by agents, writers, directors, producers, people that can move their careers forward, and that's completely free. We also do Writer Slam, which is a similar platform, but for writers, where writers only have to write 15 pages of an idea, whether they've got the whole idea written or not. And then we have over 1,000 submissions, and we put these scripts in front of commissioners and networks like Amazon's, Netflix, and the BBC, etc. And so as we moved along, like we've been going for over like 16 years, we looked at how we're providing opportunities for writers and then actors. And then the next thing was looking at directors and behind the camera. And then that's why we decided to launch the Triforce Film Festival. And everything we've done, it's always been about inclusion before it became a buzzword, you know? And if you came to any of our events, you'll see an array of different types of people, races, gender, ages, demographics. And we've always been really proud of that. And so within this space that me and Simone occupy, you meet a lot of people. And are they allies? You get a lot of doors shut in your face. There's 2 steps forward, 22 steps backwards. But as Simone says, you just got to keep going. And since 2015, as an organization, we've been doing a lot of things with ITV, but also as an insider, outsider that I call myself, as an actor, I started doing quite a bit of work for ITV as well. And so I met a producer. He came to one of our events. It was Monologue Slam. He loved it. We thought, oh, he's going to be interested in our drama or our comedy scripted idea. And he's like, no, I do entertainment shows. So we were like, oh, man, we're not doing that. But a year later, they were doing like a fresh season, which was BAME pilots for ITV2. And we got that email and we was asked, do we have any ideas for a comedy panel show? And Fraser Ayres, obviously, when you're a small indie production company, you just say yes, and then you make it happen. So he said, yes, we've got those things. And then he created this idea, Sorry I Didn't Know, which for us was a fantastic comedy panel show that is about Black history, Black history, but with a touch of color. And it doesn't matter where you're from, it's for everybody. We wanted all the families across the UK to be watching it, chipping in with the answers, having fun, being educated, you know what I mean? Being enlightened. And to laugh and learn is such a powerful thing. Anyway, we did that pilot for ITV2, which means you don't get as much budget, but we did a great job. It got probably the most responses from that fresh season, and he didn't get picked up. And so a lot of people keep asking me this, once he got released, it got commissioned this year. Why? What happened? And I'm like, guys, listen, even as a 15-year-old boy that wanted to be an actor, I could see the systemic issues within our industry. So, another like 16 years on, I was upset and frustrated, but I wasn't surprised that ITV said no, as well as the BBC, Channel 5, Sky, everybody. And that blanket response, we don't think it's right for our audience, And so, as you do, and Simone, again, I have to, because I know she battles on as well, as you do, Marlon, as we all do, just hearing people's stories, Andrew as well, you got to keep going. And so we try to keep pitching it. We try in the US, and we knew we had created something needed in 2016. But I think it's about timing, right? And so, and you need people still wanting to engage and work with you. And so in the middle of the pandemic and the BLM movement and stuff like that, looking at myself and my career, I think it got really intense. Everybody was calling each other out. There was a lot of black squares, a lot of statements from the networks. But I was like, that's not enough. What are people doing? And I remember seeing John Boyega's speech and how passionate that was and what that moment was for him. And I started being hard on myself. I was like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And then I looked at everything and I saw a quote, like a post that John Boyega put on his Instagram, was about everybody's got their own lanes. Marlon, you do what you do. I'm just doing what you do. He does. Simone's doing what he does. I'm doing what I'm doing, and it needs all of us. So don't put that pressure on yourself. And so once I had that talk with myself, I looked at my career and I was like, well, I'm currently a lead on Kate and Koji, which is ITV's biggest comedy hit in many years. And I've got this pilot that we made in 2016. And if we're in a world now of having honest, awkward, tricky conversations, then Jimmy, this is what you can do. So I contacted ITV and we had the chat. And I was like, we want to make this. This is even more important now than it was in 2016. And we want to make it our way and we want to make it with you. Do you know what I mean? And it was an interesting conversation, but I felt a slight difference in terms of being heard. But you can't beat that feeling when you get that commission. So ITV gave us our first pilot, and now they've given us first show. And we're really proud of it because for us, it represents Black excellence. It represents a space that's been void for many years. These shows are normally all white men, and in the creation of the show, we wanted to flip everything and use the ethos of our company. Go, we're going to have women captains. We're going to have a man of color in the chair, and we're going to have a wink, wink nod at the industry and the education system. We're going, why do we have to do this panel show, without hitting people over the heads? And for us, it's really important that this is not just a Black History show. We made it for the mainstream ITV channel, even when they offered us the pilot for ITV2. And yet we can see that there's a perception, there's a lot of work to be done mentally for our shows like this, not to be seen as a risk and to be embraced like, have I got news for you, QI? And we take the first win that ITV gave us these 4 episodes across Black History Month, but our vision is for it to be on TV all year round, like the other comedy panel shows. And then we can come back for October and do a special 4, and then we can come back and do a Christmas special. But I realized that we embraced the opportunity, and if you look at ITV, they've come out swinging. There's no other channel, I think, that can keep up with how much content they've been producing and backing, fully backing, And for me, sorry I didn't know. I want you all, everybody watching, please, it's our last episode tomorrow. We want high numbers. It's trended every week since, and we want no excuse for ITV not to give us a second series. So please tune in and let me know what you think. It's one of those shows that is out there on its own. I think everybody is enjoying it, and other people might have some feedback and stuff like that. But I think when you look at diverse content, because we hardly have anything, it's really hard for our things just to be. Because if you have that one show, it was like, I hate Top Boy. I'm not a road man. That's not my life. I love Top Boy. That's not my life. But if that's all we've got, of course,
Yeah.
it can also generate this negativity within our communities, and we start attacking. And I'm like, no, let's all support each other, and let's lean on the industry to make sure that the TV schedules are much more diverse and inclusive for the 12 months of the year. So that's what we're trying to do, Triforce Creative Network, via Sorry I Didn't Know, as well as celebrate our kings and queens, be it the Angie Lamars, the Colin Salmons, you know, and the Kojos, etc., as well as Paul Chowdhury.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I mean, a quick one, for a personal question, because you know, it's like almost like the length of the program. It's like I always feel like as soon as it started, it's almost finished. It's only 25 minutes. Is that something that you guys intended, or is that did ITV sort of, you know, help to make it as such?
No, we always originally thought it would be like a 30 to 45 minute show, but I think the problem with ITV, their schedule is quite tricky. That's the reason why they don't really have comedy panel shows. It's like, where do you fit it in? How does it work? And also you have that in mind, and then you forget. I watch Netflix. I don't watch commercials. You forget it's not half hour. It is 25 minutes, and so it does feel quick because of all those things. And I think, you know, personally, I speak to my business partner, I would love us to extend it. You know, even another like 15 minutes will let it sit even more. But no, it wasn't ITV telling us. ITV actually let us do our show. If this was our scripted drama comedy, this is a version of allowing the talent to tell their story in their own way. You know, there's been lots of conversations over the years that we don't get to tell our own stories. So ITV, I've got to give it to them. They've allowed us to tell our story, this game show, in our own way. But yeah, Marlon, you're right. A lot of people are, you know, a bit like, why is it going so quick? And a little bit frustrated about that. But I'm happy about that, because that's a conversation I hope when we get a season 2, we can ask for that. But also, I do believe in less is more as well, you know? And that's thing like in terms of Quibi's not around anymore, but that quick bite thing of like, I've just got 30 minutes of fantastic education, laughter, you know, and entertainment, and now I'm ready for my bed. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna process that, digest it, and maybe Google some stuff, you know. And I think that's quite tricky to present a show that is almost about learning, making you think and entertain. Getting that balance is really, if you try to do like a one page on it, it's a hard pitch in some ways. You know what I mean? If you call it an entertaining show.
Okay, excellent. Right, because we're running out of time, and we're going to run over audience. We're going to run over a little bit, and we are going to carry on for a little bit more. I understand we can also play Young Gifted in Black, and we'll now play at the end once we finish. We'll also want to give you, the audience, an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. So we want to give you 10 minutes to do that as well. So we're going to run over a little bit. And yeah, so I'm just going to sort of like kind of finish up in terms of, you know, talking to you guys, and hopefully the audience will have a couple of questions that they want to ask. And switching back to you know, and let's sort of talk together now in a sense. If you got any answers or comments, then please feel free to say it, Jimmy, Simone. But I kind of want to switch back to, because obviously I'm the film guy. Film is my thing. You know, I'm not on the TV arena. You know, I've been fighting for many years to create public access for Black filmmakers, open up cinemas to, you know, to the public, and for them to be able to see, you know, some of the best Black films on the big screen, which you've been doing. You know, I've been fighting, as people know, for many years to do that. And sometimes I feel like I'm on my own in a way in terms of doing that. And even into, you know, what I'm doing now, where I've moved into distribution now, and you know, I'm, you know, I feel I am one of the only guys, one of the only Black guys in the UK now doing that, basically. And distribution is one of the key parts. And this is something Andrew is supporting me with as well. One of the guys that I reached out to. As I said, you know, earlier on, 20th Century Disney had bought out 20th Century Fox. and I saw my opportunity to go and talk to Andrew. I knew he'd be at home twiddling his thumbs, so reached out to him, and Andrew said yes, he would support me. Andrew also has also set up his own sort of distribution company supporting films from the diaspora. So, but I kind of want to spin back to Andrew in terms of cinema, like cinema. How can we do, a similar thing as what was done for Bollywood films, for black films? And, how are black films, seen within the mainstream film industry? And I'm talking about not on the outside, behind the scenes, within the film distributor's office. So, Andrew, maybe you could, listen, we want to give some quick, snappy answers and sprint it around.
Okay, I think we're in a different world now to 20 years ago. There are 950 pieces of content released in cinemas a year. So that's a lot. Divide that by 52, and that's how many films a week are releasing, plus event cinema, plus all this diaspora audiences that we've mentioned and talked about. So in terms of the content, it needs to be compelling. This is pre-COVID, with Netflix and streaming and Amazon on the rise. A lot of those middle-range movies were starting to lose ground. And so only the best art house films, the 5-star reviewed art house films, the diaspora movies, and the big Marvel blockbusters of sorts were taking money. Everything else was starting to kind of hit the ground, and those were starting to move straight to Netflix. But then every now and again, you get a film like Blue Story, which just came out of nowhere, and it really became a bit of a zeitgeist movie. And even though there was a lot of unfortunate violence surrounding the film and the effect it was having in cinemas, sometimes there's no such thing as bad news, and that got such widespread attention. And that was a blockbuster in itself. That grossed like £4.5 million at the UK box office.
Yeah.
I want to see, what that guy does next, because I watched that film, not in the cinema, sadly, on a BAFTA viewing, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought that was really great. It was gritty, and so really, the next movie he makes, I mean, hopefully he'll make one a year at least. Hopefully he'll just carry on building on that, and the stars that were in that movie will start to become more and more familiar, and that's kind of where it starts. You almost need to. You need to have this consistency. You need one Blue Story a month in cinemas. Something new, fresh, and it needs to be consistently supplied, so that audience are coming back. And not only are they coming back, they're seeing the next movie being advertised on the big screen, on all the digital screens and posters in the cinema. So it becomes a habit. Otherwise, if we're going to wait another year, then you've got to start all over again. And that's the challenge. So it needs to be consistent, and it needs to be frequent.
So Jimmy, let me ask you, because sticking on the film thing, again, especially for us, and this is something maybe Andrew sort of doesn't realize as well. For us, like for a lot of the older, more mature, people in our community, black people in our community, there's a lot of people who are not, who are fed up of seeing films like Blue Story and seeing those films as the films that are successful and making the money. But films about that show our culture in a different light, in a more mature light, and it's not about life on the streets. Those films are not successful. What do you think about that, Jimmy, and in terms of cinema being more open to other films, and it's not just these the Blue Story or the Kid Out Hordes and those films that really are successful?
Yeah. First of all, the Blue Story. It was an amazing moment and film. And yet it reminded me of kidulthood time, and then it reminded me of what's the one with Ashley Walters, Bullet
Boy.
Yeah. Then you can go further back there to the most Cisse film. We've had these moments, and listen to Andrew. I feel like we have these moments, but it's almost like it's not the momentum's not supported. It's all I've been saying this word a lot this year about nurture. I feel like the UK actually lacks a nurturing element when it comes to diverse talent and content. You know, because you really everything Andrew's saying is correct, but if you haven't got those next productions behind that film, we just have massive gaps. But then there's depending where you are, if you're not, I feel like the one in, one out mentality here, it's in the business anyway, but especially when you look at like diverse talent, like if it's not Steve McQueen, then nothing's really going to be considered if it's outside of, I feel, that genre, you know? And then I remember talking to Noel Clarke in his early years, and he's like, Jimmy, I pitch romantic films. I pitch just a film about this white girl, this Asian guy, and then this black friend, and they're just mates, and they're trying to find out their version of normal people, but they don't like it. They want the street thing, they want the road man thing, the hood thing, and then when you hear that from someone like that successful, you know, sort of being number one in the box office charts ahead of Hollywood movies, you go, how difficult is it in this business just to create what we need is that market of movies and filmmakers to feel like if I make something, there's space for me to share it. And at the moment and over the years, I don't think like it's been like that. And so we are in a place now, a lot of people are self-sufficient. You can make your own stuff, but it's like, it shouldn't have to be like that. You know, like my thing is like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy is an amazing movie, but where's our version where you've got someone like, you know, Idris Elba, Ariane Jean-Baptiste, you know, David Harewood, Adrian Lester, Sophie Okonedo, you know, John Boyega, Letitia Wright, like all these names together on one poster, and we've never really had that. And I think it's just going to take where we are now. We feel like the industry's changing, but we've got to keep our foot on the pedal. But within the film world, I think there's even more work to be done, you know?
Yeah.
More work.
Yeah, and I agree with you totally, because, and it's funny, you know, over to Simone now, because it seems like TV is actually meeting that demand, and actually we've seen a lot more diverse kind of, you know, content, you know, on TV. Well, I have, you know, especially in the last month or so, seen a lot more, especially with your show as well. I mean, there's you know, game shows, movies. There's all kind of programs now. There's you know, documentaries, reality programs on TV. Again, we're hoping that is sustained, as we say, and carries on. But film seems to be a long way off from kind of what I see happening on TV and also on the streaming platforms. Obviously, the streaming platforms are also instigating a lot of this as well. Simone, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's really interesting. I think the first thing you've got to acknowledge is that film takes a lot longer to make than TV, and there's a whole entire different process and funding and all that kind of good stuff. But I think that even in terms of TV, I think one of the most interesting things for me of recent is that I think when people come up with an idea, back in the day, you would come up with a TV idea and then try and pitch it in TV. But I think that there's this moment where you've got an idea and you have the ability to say, oh, does that work in a cinema? Or is that an audio, or is that this, or is that there, and have some kind of choice. I also think that we don't really take advantage enough of the fact this direct to audience. I saw somebody put a question up about, make a comment about marketing around films. I think that the biggest, or all content, be it when not necessarily films, TV, whatever content you're making, I think the biggest challenge right now, and maybe, and when we talk at TV, we know it's a kind of guaranteed money, so that's why people kind of tend to go to that route. It's kind of quite safe. But I think the biggest challenge right now isn't necessarily about getting your content commissioned. I think it's getting eyeballs to it. And I think that if you're quite smart and you've got the right team around you and the right people around you, that you just get your, Blue Story didn't just come out of the blue. He did something online that was popular, had followings, had gravitas, had a whole momentum behind him. So he was unable to have a different conversation with when making that film. And I think that we forget the power of our audiences, we forget the communities, we forget about how we can reach those little spaces, make something feel really sexy and exciting, and people want to jump on it. Generally, we're quite the Black community, dare I say it, we're quite hot, we're quite trendsetters, and we kind of set the trend. Do you know what I mean? And like people tend to like to follow us. So actually using that and really remembering that and thinking about ways we can be more collaborative. And I think in this moment, to Jimmy's point, Jimmy said earlier on that it's that kind of, he made a choice to kind of go back and say, listen, you need to listen to me. You need to take this on board. This is the time. I think I'm hearing a lot more of that people are saying, I'm not having it. This is how I want it to go. And I think that that's where the change comes. And also I'm hearing more collaborations happening, which is really exciting. This kind of, you know, you can't, this one in, one out, they might want to operate like that. But you see the one in, I come with all my people. We're all coming together. Do you know what I mean? We're all working together. Or I'm going to, you know, the Black Theatre Awards was really amazing because we had this organization. You were able to pair it with a Black production company, then who paired it with a Black producer. And not to say it was all about keeping Black, but it was about being able to spot talent and say, listen, collaboratively, if we pull together, we could have something really exciting and we can then move on and see how we can build. So I think we have a lot of power in this moment. And we should stop looking externally for the industry and for others to sort out issues. We have a real moment. There's a real appetite. There's lots of different places to sell your content right now. It's not just the 4 channels when I was growing up and just cinema. So to be fair, cinema and TV are on their last legs. I shouldn't say that, but they are. Do you know what I mean? Streamings and all other places. There's so many places to get content right now. So you should be really inspired and think about smart ways of getting your content directly to audience.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. And that's what Kush will be doing as one of the first full-time Black film distributors or content as well, content sales. So, you know, I'm looking out for content right now for films to distribute and also, content to sell to Netflix, Amazon, and the likes. So yeah, so we're going to wrap up now. It's 7:40. And I'm not sure if there's any quick questions from the audience. If you want to ask our guests any quick questions before we wrap up, and then we're going to go into the Young, Gifted and Black short film. And then after that, you can then go and watch the film Recorder, the Marion Stokes project. You will have 24 hours. I'll give you till tomorrow. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, I would say, to watch the documentary. So use the password and the Vimeo link sent to you to watch it. So you can watch it tonight or you can watch it tomorrow. Okay, after that, the password will be changed and you will no longer be able to watch it. So are there any questions that anyone wants to ask?
Don't all rush at once, man. I mean, gosh, don't all rush at once with the questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, no, it doesn't seem like anyone's asking any questions here at the moment. We've had some, good feedback from people in terms of some of the content that they've heard. Wrapping up, it's let's leave the audience. There's some filmmakers, I believe. Let's leave the audience with some motivating, stuff to motivate them in terms of what they will be seeing in the future on TV, what filmmakers, content creators can be doing. Jimmy, do you want to leave the audience with some inspiration?
I was just checking some of the messages. Thank you for some of the messages about the ITV show. I just want to leave with, look, it's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. In all ways, in your career, your dreams, your aspirations, in the work that we're all doing in all our different fields, and we've got to keep going. If we don't do it, who's going to do it? And it takes a village. So I say let's just keep talking, supporting, but let's put a lot of emphasis on the doing. You know, I feel like this country, we do too many I know we're in the crazy times right now, but too many panels and discussions. I'm like, the amount of time we spend talking, just get doing it, you know. So in some ways, I think, sorry, I didn't know, the fact that we had done the pilot, that enabled us to actually seize this opportunity to get the commission. And I just wanted to plug that and say, please, all tune in. The more numbers, the better. And please hashtag it online. Sorry, sorry, I didn't know.
Okay, and just quickly review what's happening with the festival this year.
So with the festival, with the pandemic, we just said we're not going to try and do it online. We just felt it didn't feel right. You know, we're hoping it'd be okay for next year, 2021. So we're still doing a lot of for any writers listening, we do opportunities for writers via Writer Slam. We're working with Amazon at the moment. We're taking submissions for that. The Monologue Slam, again, we're going to see what happens for next year. But we're going to keep operating in this space, the same as Simone. But we're really interested in now building out the production arm. And also, obviously, I didn't talk about Dandy, which it stands for Diversity and Inclusion for behind the camera in film and TV. There's a lot of discussion about talent in front of the camera, but I think the important focus is about behind the camera, those positions of power and control. And so we've been crewing up people all year round on films, TV, Netflix productions, BBC, and anyone that wants that, I've put the website in the chat. Do take advantage, sign up to the initiative. Again, it's completely free. And what we want to address is that Simone's got this as well, as for sure you have, Marlon, and maybe you as well, Andrew, where are all the black female producers? Where are all the so-and-so crew? Where are the Asian? And it's just like, that is so tiresome. And then obviously when we've done work in that space for over the years, you're just taking it for free. So we've created a thing where the industry pays for it, not the talent, but we're able to create a top list of top people because we're viewed too much as a risk. And can they do it? We can all do it real good and we're all excellent. And so, again, anyone that's listening that's trying to get into the industry or further their career, just check out the websites that I've put on the chat.
Excellent. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Andrew.
Yeah, I'd like to say something actually. What's become really apparent this year with Corona is it's really exposed the UK cinema industry where they have not supported local products enough. So right now there's a serious glut of Hollywood product out there. Most of the Hollywood movies have moved back to next year. And as a result, the only territories in the world that are surviving and doing pretty well are those that have supported local content. So China, Korea, Japan, even France and Spain and Germany to a degree, there's a lot more support of local films. And right now, because there's no Hollywood films, it's a little bit late, but right now, there's never been more independent films playing in cinemas than right now. So I think this has been a big lesson for everyone. So I think there's a real opportunity for so many reasons. But going forward, I think this has shown the true importance of supporting your local content at each territory level. So, if cinema is to thrive and survive going forward, it can't afford to turn its door on any aspect, any element of business. And so hopefully I'd like to think that you're going to find exhibitors being a lot more welcoming, open-armed to possibilities going forward that perhaps in the past they haven't been able to accommodate because there's been too many screens playing the Hollywood films. So I think it's an exciting time, and hopefully to challenge what Simone said, that if cinema is going to survive, it needs to change now more than ever its approach with content going forwards.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you. Right. So I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank all my guests, Jimmy, Simone, Andrew. It's been a real inspiring talk. There's been some good comments in the chat. All I can say is, just keep believing, just keep doing. People know me already, no doors ain't going to be shut on me. I'm creating my own doors and opening my own doors, and I've always been doing that since I started in 1998. I'm still here 22 years later. You just got to keep believing in yourself and believing in what you're doing, and just don't take no for an answer. Do not take no for an answer. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope to see you all again on the 26th of November. I believe Nick, who's controlling things behind the scenes, is going to be able to play Young Gifted and Black for us now. And then after that, everyone, you need to log out and then just basically go back to your email, get the link for the documentary film Recorder, the Marion Stokes project. As I said, you'll have till tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock to watch it. After that, you will not be able to watch it. The link has just been put into the chat for you. You should have the email also with the password. Okay, the password is there. Please do not share it with anyone else. As I said, it's a brand new film. It's not out yet, so please do not share the password. And this is another film that Kush Films is bringing to you. We're now doing things virtually online, and we're hoping to be doing some excellent stuff, bring some excellent films to UK audiences in the future, physically in screens and also online. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'm off to watch Tottenham. See you later. Bye.